Hello everyone, welcome to my new video on this new channel where a beginner, that is me, shares his practice sessions as well as drawing plans with you guys so that all of us can grow together in the field of digital art. Now if you have not seen my first video, please do give it a watch. It is basically an introductory video, but it also explains what this channel is going to be all about and what I am going to cover on my videos on this channel. So this is going to be the first video which actually deals with drawing or practice, and just like the beginning of everything else, we are going to start with the absolute fundamentals. And by fundamentals I mean the basic shapes like cylinders, spheres, ellipses and so on. Now I know this is so boring. Well, trust me, I have gone through a lot of tutorial videos on drawing, went through a lot of courses, and in each and every one of those there has been a heavy emphasis on building up on the fundamentals. So I am going to trust the experts and start with this. Now before I begin, I'll tell you what I'll be using in this video and in the upcoming videos. For the drawing I'll be using a graphics tablet. It looks something like this. I'm using the exact same thing. So this is from the company called Wacom. How it works is there's a pen and there's a pad. There's no screen on it. You need to connect this to the PC using a USB, and when I hover this pen over the pad, it mimics the movement of the mouse cursor, and when I place the tip of the pen on the pad, it mimics the click of a mouse. So when I actually scribble something on this pad, it's the same as dragging the mouse from one point to another while pressing the mouse button. So here goes the hardware part. Let's talk about the software that I'll be using. There are a lot of softwares that are available in the market, like Photoshop, Procreate, Krita, Paint Tool Sai, Paint Tool Sai. So out of those I'll be using Krita because Krita is, or many people call it Krita, it is a free software and it is comparable to the paid ones. So all you need to do to use Krita is go to this link. I'll paste the link in the description. Just click on the download button. Once the download is done, install it. After you have done installing, let's open it, and once it opens we will get into a page like this. From here there are many options, but we will create a new file. There are many settings about the resolutions. We will not touch that. We will let it be the default settings. Now this blank canvas opens, and there are a lot of tabs on the right, on the left. So we will talk about all these things later in details. Maybe I'll create a separate video for this, but for now you can see as I scribble on my tab, the lines that are created on the canvas look very similar to when we draw with a pen on paper. Right now the canvas is completely zoomed out. The entire canvas is on display. To zoom in, we will need to use the combination of Ctrl plus space and then click and drag the mouse up. For zooming out, we will have to click and drag the mouse down. For panning around, we will need to press space bar and then drag the mouse around. As you can see on the screen, there is an icon of brush. So this is the tool I am using. If you click on that, we can see different properties of that tool, like opacity or brush size. We can vary it according to our own needs, but we are not going to discuss about it in detail in this video. We'll look into it later. Now that we have this software open, we could start drawing, and as you can see, the benefits of using a graphics tablet is there is pressure sensitivity. You see, when I'm using less pressure, the lines that are being drawn are thin, and when I'm pressing it more, the lines become thicker. So let's start our drawing here now. We will start with circles. Let's draw a few circles on the paper. Now circles are two-dimensional. Well, anything we draw on this canvas will be two-dimensional because the canvas itself is two-dimensional. But if we want to give it a perception of three-dimensional object, suppose we draw a curve horizontally and vertically over the circle. Now it looks like the circle has a volume, that is, it looks like a sphere. So this is the main objective of this practice, to be able to create believable 3D objects on the two-dimensional canvas that we are drawing in. Now you see the circles that I am drawing are not perfect. Some of the lines are not joining, but it doesn't matter. I don't want to create one perfect circle and spend half an hour on it. It is better to create almost perfect circles, but drawing 10, 12, 13, just to increase our hand-eye coordination. And once all the circles are drawn, I will draw those vertical and horizontal curves on each of these circles. When I draw these lines, you can see I am bringing in variation in the way I am putting these lines on the circle. And whenever we practice this exercise, our goal would not be to create circles, our goal would be to create spheres, just like these. Because these structures will be the most important piece in the construction of head. As we will see in further videos, more believable structures like these you are able to create, the easier it would be for you to create a more believable head or face. After we are done with the circles or spheres, we'll move on to the next shape. We'll draw ellipses, the same way as we drew the circles, one after the other, not spending too much time to make each shape perfect, but trying to draw as much as we can while keeping it believable. You can see as I'm drawing, I'm changing the angle of the ellipses. Usually, everyone has a preferred side or preferred angle for drawing stuff. Well, with these practice, we would be able to increase our efficiency at various angles, at drawing anything at any angle. After the ellipses are drawn, what I do is I draw the major and the minor axis just to check whether the quadrants seem equal or not. Now the next thing, why we drew ellipses? Here's the answer. Ellipses are required to be able to draw cylinders. Now nobody's going to draw just a ball or just an ellipse or a cylinder and expect anybody to call it great art, but these structures would actually be very important in the construction of a lot of things. You know, if we want to create believable figures, believable structures, we would need to understand the dimensions and the proportions, and these structures would help us in attaining the basic skeleton of any object that we want to create. After the cylinders are done, we'll be drawing conical figures. Same way, just draw the ellipses at different angles, create cones upside down to the left to the right. After the cones, cubes and cuboids. Well, these are also very important structures while drawing the base construction of an object. So we will try to create as many as we can. Okay, now that we drew all the shapes, all the basic shapes, we would like to practice these shapes in sets of 3 or 4 and try to do it every day to increase our dexterity and improve our hand-eye coordination. Now, all the structures are done, and we know the construction of a human figure looks something like this. What if we are not looking at this figure from the front, but we are looking at it from a different angle, let's say from the top? How would this figure look like? Let me try to draw it. From my imagination, I can think like the head will be here, the shoulders would be somewhere like here, the waist below, the arms here. As we go down, the objects would become thinner, smaller, legs, knees, feet. So the person would look, the structure would look something like this. Let's draw some here. So the person is looking towards this side. So this is what it looks. You can see the structures are not the same shapes as we drew. That's what happens in everyday life. Something that's closer is bigger than something that's farther away from us. And this concept in this drawing field is called as foreshortening. Now, every object that we see around us involves this. So we need to practice foreshortening. And by practicing foreshortening, we will improve our grasp on the 3D field around us. The way we try to imagine, the way we try to create objects, to make it more believable, to make it more realistic. For this, what I do is I try to draw structures like pipelines. Create a circle, a sphere, create a cylinder above it, and every joint would be a sphere, and there would be limbs, and there would be pipes that would be cylindrical. Now some of the pipes would be parallel to us, some of the pipes would be going inside the plane, and some of the pipes would be coming outside of the plane. So when I try to draw this, I'll have to shorten it and widen it at different positions based on what I want to create. So once you are done, we'd like to look at it and see if it really feels like the pipes are going into the plane or coming outside. The more you practice, the better these structures will become. And there's one more exercise that I like to practice, and this involves joining the simple shapes that we created earlier in this video and creating a compound shape out of all those. Suppose I draw a cube here. After the cube is drawn, I would like to attach a cylinder. So let me draw a cylinder here. You see, let me erase the backgrounds, and now it looks like the cylinder is attached over the cube. Let me draw another shape beside the cube. So I just keep adding shapes like these to create a compound object out of those simple structures. So these are all the exercises that I practice, and it gets boring, yes, but the more we do this, the better our brain captures the concept of three-dimensional objects. And after enough practice, we should be able to create believable 3D objects. And this marks the end of the practices that I was going to share in this video. In the upcoming videos, I'll talk more about the constructions of the entire body that I drew here, and also of individual parts. We would grab specific parts like the head, hands, arms, the torso, the legs, the feet, and we would try to divide these into different sessions, with each component involving its own set of videos. Right now I struggle too much at drawing hands. The fingers, god, they're so tricky. Well, maybe I'll focus on that first. Well, that's the best I can draw right now. If you are still watching, I'd like to thank you for watching the entire video. Please like the video, and if you want to follow my further videos, please subscribe to my channel. Also, do leave a comment about what you felt about this video, and watch my first video and leave a comment about that too. Well, I guess it's goodbye then. Have a great day.